I'd like to welcome you to a wonderful evening of celebrating our wonderful Steve Robinson. I hope you enjoyed, I hope you enjoyed the opening reception, which was sponsored by our friends at Flick Independent School Dining. So thank you to Flick Independent School Dining for that. As some of you walked in, you may have noticed a familiar voice. Steve made us turn it off, though. That was our own Steve Robinson singing one of his original gospel songs, which were recorded to 8-track back in the 1970s. We still found one that worked. He is a man of many talents. Let's enjoy a short preview video while we start our meal, and then after dinner we'll have the official program, and it promises to be very entertaining and surprising for that man. So enjoy your dinner.
Hey, I'm a believer now, since Jesus changed my mind. Hey, I'm a believer now, everything's gonna be fine. Hey, I'm a believer now, everybody's going to see. Yes, I'm a believer now, since he set me free. Well, people think that I'm kind of strange. Something's out of place.
You know, it's easy to say glowing things about a person who is such a giant in the field of private education. And I just want to... I'm sorry, excuse me? Oh, this is for Steve Robinson. Ooh, it's going to be a little tougher to come up with nice things to say, but take two.
Hey, I'm a believer now, since Jesus changed my mind.
Seriously, Steve, it is easy to offer glowing remarks about you. I remember our first meeting in Arizona, where you worked so diligently to bring together the State CAPE organization there. Your commitment to CAPE has been nothing short of remarkable and deeply generous, graciously agreeing to speak with our board, coming to our State CAPE meetings, always having a keen, wise, and helpful intervention. You never turned us down, Steve, and we are most grateful for that. More than that, Steve, I am personally grateful for your friendship, so many meals and conversations together over the years, your servant leadership within private education, and of course the inspiration that you and Rhonda are providing all of us in responding to the call to Honduras. The book of Daniel says that those who are wise will shine as bright as the sky, and those who lead many to righteousness will shine like the stars forever. You've inspired a lot of people, Steve, and that inspiration does indeed shine like the stars. Blessings on your new work.
Since Jesus changed my mind. Hey, I'm a believer now, everything's gonna be fine. Hey, I'm a believer now, everybody's going to see. Yes, I'm a believer now, I'm glad I'm a believer now. Thank God I'm a believer now, since he set me free.
Tonight is all about saluting and celebrating a leader, a comrade, and a friend. Steve is a man of many talents, and our speakers will share some interesting facts with you. For the record, let me share some of his professional background. Steve has a BA in Multi-Denominational Religious Studies and Music from Southern Nazarene University, an MA in General Education with a concentration in Psychology from Southern Nazarene University, and a PhD in Applied Behavioral Studies and Education with an emphasis in Student Personnel Administration from Oklahoma State University. Steve served at the university level as an admissions counselor, a director of student recruitment, and a vice president for student affairs, and finally an Associate Vice Chancellor for Enrollment Services. He has served as head of 2 independent schools. An interesting fact about Steve is that while in college, he was both an athlete and an actor. He performed in the production of Hansel and Gretel, and at the same time held an 18-year scoring record at Southern Nazarene University, having scored 43 points in 1 game. Yeah. Steve is married to the wonderful Rhonda, and they have 3 children, Garrett, Heather, and Mackenzie. Why don't y'all stand up so that everybody can see you? To begin our celebration, I'd like to ask Kirk Walker, interim head of school at Webb School of Knoxville and chair of the 2006 search committee that hired Steve, to come forward to share some remarks. Thank you, Kirk.
Thank you, Barbara. In 2006, when Tom Redmond announced his retirement, Sandra Adams, who was the chair of the board at the time, turned to me and asked if I would head the search committee to find a new president. Many of you know Sandra and know how hard it is to say no to her. I didn't. The morning after, I realized what I had done. I had agreed to find the successor to a legend, a man who had built the association from a file box in his home and a piggyback meeting at another association's convention to an organization with an office and a staff, an organization with a clear identity and mission, and an organization poised to be a major player in accreditation. After the search committee was formed, we recognized it would take a very special person to carry the association into its future and to build on Tom's strong foundation. Obviously, it needed to be a person who understood schools and how they operated, and who had worked in a range of educational institutions. But beyond these traits, what other talents and skills should this person have? That was the challenge. After much deliberation, we decided that the ideal candidate must first be a builder. So we looked for someone who had worked construction. 2, be a mover. So we looked for someone who'd worked for a moving company. Be a driver. So we looked for someone who had driven a Pepsi delivery truck. Be a salesman. So we looked for a realtor. Be informed. So we looked for someone who'd had a newspaper route. Be inspiring. So if we looked for someone who could sing gospel music, particularly, as we all now know, someone who had already recorded an 8-track tape that was available for sale. And then finally, to be visionary, so we looked for an ordained minister. We clearly had set the bar very high. Would we be able to find one individual who would possess all these talents and have had all of these experiences? Would someone like that actually exist? A construction worker who sang gospel, a realtor with a paper route, a minister who worked for a moving company? Thankfully, there was such an individual, and we found him, and the results speak now for themselves. When Steve arrived in 2007, the membership had already grown steadily and was at 288. It is now at 370. In 2007, the number of schools accredited by SAIS was 181. There are now 322 SAIS accredited schools in 11 states and several countries. It has moved from a regional presence to a national and even international one. The number of services has expanded dramatically. Professional development opportunities grew from 5 to 15, and annual conference attendance grew from 147 to 337. Good job, Lori. The number of association partnerships grew to 21. To accommodate this growth, the staff increased from 4 to 8, and the association acquired its own offices. It has been a period of impressive growth. And while Steve would be the first to admit it was a team effort, we all know who the real driver was. Yes, the man behind the wheel of the Pepsi truck. Steve, our schools are stronger because of your efforts. Our students are the beneficiaries of that strength. It has been an honor to work beside you. I hope that Honduras can appreciate the gift they are about to receive. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Kirk. Now I'm very excited to introduce a surprise to the evening's program, so it's not printed in your program. I'd like to invite Steve's daughters, Heather and Mackenzie, to join me on stage. Heather is a middle school administrator at Christ School in Orlando. Mackenzie is in her second year as an elementary education major at Valencia College in Orlando. Steve, enjoy.
In keeping with surprises, Mackenzie and I thought that we would do something that actually our father has never actually seen. So this is the first time not only for you, but also for him.
A strong hand as your guide, feel his strength by your side, he'll give anything. A father feels your pain when you do, has the words to give you, he is everything. Oh, a father, I see love in my father's eyes, I see love.
A father's like the father
In the way he loves you,
A father's like the father
when he carries you through. See love from my Father in heaven, through the eyes of my Father on earth. I see love
in my father's eyes. See love. A father's like the father
in the way he loves you,
A father's like the father
when he carries you through. See love from my Father in heaven, through the eyes of my Father on earth. Through the eyes of my Father on earth. Through the eyes of my Father on earth.
So the Kleenex was placed next to you on purpose. Our next speaker is the infamous Mr. Tom Redman, former Executive Director of SAIS from 1986 to 2007. Come to the stage, Tom.
This is an awfully difficult place to be. Right after those two, Steve, what am I going to do? And then Barbara, you changed the rules. You didn't say I had to speak from facts. My entire moment here is based on something other than facts, but maybe perceptions. So Steve, thank you for having me here. Thank all of you, all of those who I've had the pleasure to be with, to know over the years, and to appreciate. And Steve, I think you've had a tremendous tenure and opportunity with an incredible group of people. So no more shoulders to stand on. You've got your own. People are going to be standing on yours at this point. I want to simply add to what Kirk said. Kirk made some points about what you were looking for. And I want to add 4 things that I think I've seen them. I've seen them. If I didn't see them specifically, I heard about them. I heard and I understood and I became very well aware early on that Steve was a listener. Steve was the kind of person that you could actually tell something to, a confidence would be kept, an understanding would be made. It's not often these days that we get beyond our great teachers, all of whom we expect to listen to the students under their opportunity. But Steve was able to do it with heads of schools, to do it with people in high places, in low places, and to appreciate all the kinds of messages that have to be heard by an association executive. Steve was also, in his role as listener, I came to know a statesman, a person who listens, who doesn't always speak first, but a person who could represent this kind of organization, what it stood for, what it stands for, what it will be for, in a way that creates a sense of true statesmanship. I saw it happen, I heard about it, and you've got a lot of testimonials, Steve, as to how it took place over these good years. So a statesman clearly fits you really well, whether or not it's in a Pepsi truck or not, although here it's got to be a Coke truck, as you know. Don't go talking to any donors in Atlanta about Pepsi. Steve was also a traveler. Now, Steve, I think, likes to travel, and Rhonda probably has some stories about that we probably can't tell over the air, but Steve really does enjoy getting out and moving around. I think it's a tremendous thing to say about a leader who is willing to get up, get out of the office, and go see the people and the schools, the organizations that they're working with. A traveler is the person who doesn't stay right where they are, but who goes out to find out where the issues are. And Steve, I think you've been a tremendous traveler. You may have a different territory, but I have a feeling you'll be traveling as well. Fourthly, I want to credit Steve with what I have heard and understood and appreciate about him as being a provocateur. It's one thing to have somebody sort of keep the ship afloat. It's something else indeed to have somebody who's willing to ask questions, to not be satisfied with the way things are, to say that we can go better and beyond, make things even better for independent schools in the South and now well beyond the South. And so, Steve, I want to credit you for being the provocateur that has made waves in lots of places that I hear about all the time in this country, all the way across this country. So thank you for being that. I have to add a fifth. Steve and I have a slight affinity for a good dram of scotch. some of you probably have the same thing. I'm not sure Steve's decision about what kind of scotch meets with the likes of, for example, Jim Hendricks. Is Jim here? If Jim was here, he could teach us about that. But knowing that we have this affinity made me think about something. I have a feeling that Steve, in the next few years, is going to have some remarkable challenges. But I also think that right away, he's going to appreciate and enjoy some remarkable connections and relationships. Without a doubt, I think he probably will begin to be back in touch with some parents. My guess is some parents will be able to talk to Steve. Steve will talk to them. You don't get to do that much in the association world. I also have a feeling that Steve will get connected to politics. Now, we've got politics coming up in this country in a few weeks. My guess is Steve will be connected to a very interesting and different kind of Central American politics. And then I also think Steve will, as he's done so well before here, he will be involved in a relationship with a great governing group, a board. And finally, not necessarily finally, but surely, my guess is that Steve will have a good relationship with his bishop, and that relationship will provide strength and continuity. Now, what I want to finish with is to simply give Steve a good cheer in a way that a good Scotch drinker would give it to someone else, and present him with a gift. Steve, this is better Scotch. It's not the best, but it's better. And what I want to do is remind you that as the next few months unfold, I think you're going to have the opportunity to appreciate the great warmth of parents, their enthusiasm. I think you're going to enjoy getting on top of the politics. I think you're going to enjoy a great relationship and support from your board. And I think you'll have wonderful conversations, always supportive with your bishop. So in view of that, I want you to have something that you can sip and relax and enjoy for just about the same length of time that all that good support will last. So here you are, Steve. My suggestion is don't drink it all in one night. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Mr. Bob Chambers, Head Emeritus at Athens Academy, who will share some wonderful remarks about Steve. Come to the stage, Mr. Chambers.
Thank you, Barbara. It really is an honor for me to be invited to participate with all of you in this very, very special occasion. In paying tribute to Steve, I want to offer the following, which is a fictitious telephone conversation of almost 8 years ago between our esteemed colleague Ned Fox and me. May I speak to Ned Fox, please? Hello, Ned. Bob Chambers. Are you enjoying your interim headmaster tour? Great. Oh, I'm doing fine. I'm calling to let you know that SAIS has selected a new president. Well, they selected a cowboy. Yes, a cowboy. an Oklahoma State cowboy, Dr. Steve Robinson. As you know, Kirk Walker chaired the search committee, and they established the criteria for the ideal candidate. And Kirk really believes that they found the right person. Yes, Ned, I realize we'll be going from Redmond, the Duke University Divinity School grad, to an Oklahoma State cowboy. No, Ned, no. I don't get the impression from Kirk that he's a gunslinger. However, that wouldn't be all bad in our dealings with SAIS. It seems to me that he's probably more of the Will Rogers type cowboy. You know, the type, I've never met a person I didn't like. No, Ned, I really do believe there's hope. There's hope, Ned. Well, I understand, but, well, there's Laura Spear. You know she kept Redmond straight all this time. And we can depend on her to keep Robinson straight, too. Yes, Ned, I realize, and I feel deeply about it, too, that we have a lot on our accreditation plate. We have a lot. I realize that. Dealing with SAIS and just as challenging as dealing with the NAIS Commission. Yes. Yes, I understand. But I'm sure, Ned, that we'll remain with the same mission. We're going to remain the same. Yes, I understand it. You've told me 100 times, and I realize our primary goal is independence, independence, independence. And you can count on me. I'll stick in there with you. Well, I think you're right, Ned. It may be a good idea for SAIS to have a Will Rogers type cowboy who can really rope them in. Okay. Yeah, we'll stay in touch. As always, Ned. Take care of yourself. Well, Steve, you roped them in, baby. You roped them in. NAIS Commission, SAIS, and all the other important areas of this association. You brought us all together in a great way. You're a great cowboy. I want you to know, too, that it's been a professional and personal pleasure for me to know you and to work with you. Very special to me, as it is to so many other people. You have been an invaluable asset to SAIS. Often, Steve would humbly say, you have just been standing on the shoulders of those who have come before you. And I'm going to say to you now that those who come after you are going to have a great advantage because they are going to be standing on your shoulders. I join with everyone here in saying thank you. Thank you. And I wish for you and Rhonda a great experience, a rewarding experience in Honduras. Thank you so much.
Thank you to all three of our wonderful speakers, and of course to our musicians, Heather and Mackenzie, did a great job. Now you have a little bit more to sit through, so sit back a little bit. We have a video to show you now. So here comes another surprise.
Alright, stop. Collaborate and listen. Dr. Steve is the one we'll be missing. Honduras, grab that hold of him tightly. Caribbean beaches, daily and nightly. Will it ever stop? No! It's gotta stop though. Man, Lee, it's gotta stop.
What?
It's enough, we've done this. It's over.
I guess you're right, Michael. And this is for Dr. Steve Robinson, who's leaving SAIS to join the Episcopal Diocese of Ireland.
No, Honduras!
I mean, Honduras, right, exactly. We should have more dignity and composure.
Also, the weather in Central America, it's very hot, so,
That's right,
no ice, baby. Steve, from everybody at Durham Academy, we wish you the best. Buen viaje, amigo.
Hello, my name is Steve Hammond, principal of St. Patrick Catholic School in Norfolk, Virginia.
Hi, it's Bill Taylor, president of St. George's Independent School in Memphis, Tennessee.
Hi, Steve. It's Dana Markham, president at Pinecrest School in Fort Lauderdale and Boca Raton.
Steve, this is your old buddy, Scott Wilson.
Hi, Steve. Don Berger, head of school at Cape Fear Academy.
Hi, I'm Byron Hulsey from Woodbury Forest School.
This is Colin Creel from Cornerstone Christian Academy.
Hi, Steve. It's Melba Richardson, head of St. James School in Montgomery, Alabama.
Soy Susana Gemsby de la Escuela Galloway.
Greetings from Austin, Texas. I'm Theo Coonrod, former head of school and now retired from St. Mary's School in Raleigh, North Carolina.
This is Joe McTighe from the Council for American Private Education.
This is Steve O'Neill, headmaster at Westminster Schools of Augusta in Georgia.
I've been asked to say a few words about my colleague and indeed my friend Steve Robinson and his massive impact not only at SAIS but in education in general.
Hey Steve, thanks for all you've done for SAIS and independent school education in general.
I want to congratulate you, Steve, on your tenure at Southern Association of Independent Schools. You've been a phenomenal leader for the association, done a great job.
Muchísimas gracias por tu trabajo con SAIS.
Thank you so much for your dedication and your service and all your help through the years.
Steve, you've done so much throughout your tenure with SAIS to forward the mission of independent schools. Our students, faculty, and entire school community are indebted to you.
Steve, it's been a pleasure getting to know you over the last several years. As the president of SAIS, you've been a huge blessing.
It has been a pleasure working with you these past 7 years during your tenure at SAIS. You have done a remarkable job introducing and advocating for global education during your tenure at SAIS, and it comes as no surprise then that you're moving on to become the superintendent of schools for the Diocese of Honduras.
Steve, congratulations on your great career at SAIS. In your years as president, you have done a great job with everything that you've touched, with the accreditation model that serves all of our schools very well, to the many professional development opportunities that SAIS offers in the summer, and the great annual conference. Everything that you have done for SAIS has made us better, and is part of what we do to serve children in our schools.
Steve, I count it as one of the privileges of my career to have served on your first board of directors for SAIS. I am excited for you and Rhonda as you head off to Honduras on your next adventure. I love that you're returning to your roots in overseeing schools, and Episcopal schools at that.
I wanted to, one, say thank you for your service to SAIS and to all of its member schools. Your service during your tenure has been extraordinary.
I commend you on a job well done, but also commend you on your next chosen leg of your journey. Have tremendous respect and admiration for what you've chosen to do.
Really appreciate the work that you did a few months back with my board on a board retreat at Champions Retreat. My board continues to rave about your work at that retreat, and I think the same as well.
I particularly have a fond memory of all of us at Point Clear at a conference when I think some of my teachers entertained you with their song and dance, particularly a few Roll Tides.
I thought I knew Steve well from accreditation visits, from board retreats, and just from countless hours discussing our passion for education. But it's while on a trip to China last year that I really felt I got to know the real Steve Robinson. Sitting in a Confucian temple, ruminating on life with other school leaders, what took us into schools, to school leadership? For some, a mentor. For others, passionate parents. It might have been just the desire to change the world and society. And Steve shared his story. And it's amazing. I think it shows a different side of Steve. So, I'm going to share with you what Steve shared with all of us. He got that look in his eye, that passion, that fervor, but with a hint of melancholy when Steve admitted to the group in the grand setting of a Confucian temple what led him to become a school leader. And it was his background, his passion, and his love for noodling. Now, for those of you that don't know, noodling is the ability to wade into murky water, put one's arm into a hole, and hope that a catfish attaches itself to your hand, your arm, bites you, and I guess you pull the catfish out, or it pulls you in. That is what has made Steve Robinson such a successful school leader.
As a headmaster, there's no way to express my gratitude for all you've done for all of us, and personally for me and my schools. And so I just wanted to say thank you, and the work you've done is exceptional. Your shoes will be very hard ones to fill.
This is bittersweet for me and everyone who works with you. You have been a mentor throughout my journey, and for that I am forever grateful.
They are getting a man of impeccable character and integrity. I wish Rhonda and you all the best. Stay in touch. Good luck.
I want you to know that I send my best wishes and lots of love.
Very excited about your upcoming adventure with Rhonda to Honduras, and really look forward to hearing about your work there, and look forward to staying connected with you in the larger independent school world. Bon voyage, Steve.
My only regret, Steve, is we couldn't spend more time playing golf. But perhaps those days will come in the future.
So thank you, Steve. We love you. Take care, and God bless.
Congratulations on your great career at SAIS. Good luck in Honduras. And thanks so much for all you've invested in making our schools the best we can be.
You're a missionary, and so I'm not surprised about your newest venture, and I wish you Godspeed and all the luck in the world in Honduras. All the very best to you, and you will always have friends among all of us in SAIS member schools. You're the best. Good luck.
On behalf of Pinecrest School, I wish you all the best in your next endeavor.
Steve, many happy years of noodling, my friend.
Sir Robinson, para nosotros como instituciones episcopales de Honduras y especialmente para St. Mary Episcopal School, nos sentimos muy agradecidos, motivados, alegres y confiados de que todo va a salir bien para usted cuando se encuentre en nuestro país, Honduras. Esperamos de que todo sea para bienestar de las instituciones episcopales y especialmente para usted en el desarrollo de su vida profesional. Welcome to St. Mary, welcome Honduras, welcome Sir Robinson a nuestro país. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson, for the
us. We are happy waiting for you.
On behalf of the students of St. Mary's, we want to thank you for your good intentions and future plans with us. As seniors, we're happy to know that our future generation is left on the best hands. We are looking forward to your arrival.
I hope you guys like tamales.
Que no te tapen los ojos, ojo con la corrupción y la incomprensión, la indiferencia y la delincuencia, que con frecuencia amigo uno se encuentra en esta nación. Ponele mucha atención a esta canción de corazón. Es más lo bueno que aquí tenemos, más los que queremos, creemos en esta tierra, es una bendición. Mira Honduras con otros ojos, que esta es tu tierra. Descubrí que al mirarla con otros ojos vas a merecerla. Mira Honduras con otros ojos, que esta quererla. Descubrí que al mirarla con otros ojos vas a merecerla. Con frecuencia amigo uno se encuentra en esta nación. Ponele mucha atención a esta canción de corazón. Es más la riqueza, grandeza, nobleza, más la belleza que hay en esta tierra. Es una bendición. Mira Honduras con otros ojos, que esta es tu tierra.
Steve Robinson, this is for you. After all the good times we've had singing and picking over these years, here you go, buddy. Oh, may the road rise to meet you on your journey. May the rains fall soft upon your land. Go with the gentle wind until we meet again. May God hold you in the palm of His hand. May God hold you in the palm of His hand. May God hold you in the palm of His hand. May God hold you in the palm of His hand. Steve, thank you so much for all the good work and help you've given St. Patrick Catholic Schools since its inception in 05-06. We appreciate it. We wish you good luck and Godspeed on your journey. Take good care, buddy.
Good job, Lori. Whoever was behind that video. Damien, good job, Damien. That was awesome. We have come a long way with you as our leader. We have enjoyed you as being the captain of our boat, and you've also served as our anchor through many of the rough waters along the way. You have been an advocate for independent schools and for their missions. You are a remarkable leader and even a more remarkable friend. And it is in that vein that I would like to read you this story. Some of you may have heard this before. But a professor once stood before his philosophy class and had some items in front of him. When the class began, he wordlessly picked up a very large empty mayonnaise jar and proceeded to fill it with golf balls. He then asked the students, was the jar full? And they all agreed that it was. The professor then picked up a box of pebbles and he poured them into the jar. He shook the jar lightly and the pebbles rolled into the open areas between the golf balls. He then asked the students again if the jar was full, and they agreed that it was. The professor next picked up a box of sand and he poured it into the jar. Of course, the sand filled up everything else. He once again asked, is the jar full? And the students responded with a unanimous yes. The professor then produced 2 beers from under the table, and he poured the entire contents of the 2 beers into the jar, effectively filling the empty space between the sand. The students laughed. Now, said the professor as the laughter subsided, I want you to recognize that this jar represents your life. The golf balls are the important things: your family, your children, your health, your friends, and your favorite passions. And if everything else was lost and only they remained, your life would still be full. The pebbles are the other things that matter, like your job, your house, and your car. The sand is everything else, the small stuff. If you put the sand into the jar first, however, there is no room for the pebbles or the golf balls. The same goes for life. If you spend all of your time and energy on the small stuff, you will never have room for the things that are important to you. Pay attention to the things that are critical to your happiness. Spend time with your children. Spend time with your parents. Visit with grandparents and grandchildren. Take your spouse out to dinner. Play another 18. There will always be time to clean the house and fix the disposal. Take care of the golf balls first, the things that really matter. Set your priorities. The rest is just sand. One of the students raised her hand and then inquired, well, then what is the beer for? And the professor smiled and said, I'm glad you asked. The beer just shows you that no matter how full your life may seem, there's always room for a couple of beers with a friend. So, my friend, please remember you have a whole room full of people who would love to spend extra time with you and enjoy a couple of beers. So, in closing, I have an impromptu send-off for you, thanks to the music of Peter, Paul, and Mary. Let's see how we do. All your bags are packed. You're ready to go. You're standing at SAIS's door. I really can't believe you're saying goodbye, especially in my first year as being board chair. But you're leaving on a jet plane. Don't know when you'll be back again. Oh, Steve, we hate to see you go. God bless you. You get to come forward now, finally. Steve Robinson.
Told some of you this earlier that I hardly ever had my mom call me for dinner, let alone have a dinner named after me or for me. And obviously I'm humbled, a little embarrassed, but humbled that so many of you showed up. Kirk, we did some good things together, enjoyed working with you so much. And of course, Tom, I'm still standing on your shoulders and will be for a while. And I gladly lend my shoulders to whoever comes next. And Bob Chambers and I have had some very interesting conversations. And thank you guys for doing this. You know, I've often wondered, the older I get, and a lot of you can relate to this. And by the way, I know there are people in this room that weren't born when 8-tracks were out. I don't know where in the world they came up with the 8-track that still plays. I didn't even know there were 8-track machines anywhere. But over the last couple of decades, I've attended more and more funerals of folks, family and loved ones, and so on and so forth. And I've often sat back there and wondered, I wonder if they really are kind of watching this from somewhere, if they're paying attention to what this is. And I just kind of got the sense a little bit ago that sitting there was kind of like I'm watching this eulogy going on, and it just really, the thing is, I've never seen one of them be asked to get up and talk afterwards, but so I don't know how similar it would be. So I guess someday I will learn that, but anyway. And there's one other thing, and I'm not going to take long. I just certainly appreciate you all being here, but there's one thing that I really must do. And by the way, I didn't know whether to bring up Kleenexes or Scotch with me. I'm not sure. Might need them both. But on my first board meeting in July 2007, I'd been on the job exactly 2 weeks. And I'm sitting at the board meeting, and we're having some good conversation, and a few of the folks around the board table I knew in advance, and one of those people that I had known for a couple of years was Marcia. And we're sitting there at this board meeting, and something was said, and I'm sure I was as cute as that young picture of me. I said something probably kind of cute or something. And Marcia looks at me and says, "Steve, you know it's not all about you." And I took that to heart. But I want to do one thing. Marcia, would you stand up and tell me what this is all about tonight? Hey. It took 8 years, but here we are. Okay. Even when the movie came out, it's all about Steve. I couldn't get her to admit it then. But so no, thank you so much. Again, I'm honored. I'm flattered. We still have a few months on the job. This was just the only time we could throw a party, I think, before we did leave. And those of you that haven't had a chance, most of you know Rhonda and you've seen my children, but Bishop Allen, who will be my colleague and partner in Honduras after we get down there, and the guy that I respect so much, the work he's doing, and just want to be a part of that and feel called to be a part of that. Get to know him while he's here. He's around the next few days. And thanks for showing up, Bishop, and you might have come the furthest, although we've had a few other folks come in from a little distance, but thank you so much. I'm honored, and I'm rarely at a loss for words, but that 8-track is still just confusing me. Thank you. God bless you.
I forgot to give him his present.
Oh.
So on behalf of SAIS, we have a beautiful bowl to give you. We don't know if you'll put any of those beautiful, whatever those things were that those children were showing on the video, but anyway, whatever you may put in here, would you please remember that this is full of love for you from all of us. So thank you.
Thank you.